Okay. Good morning, everyone. Morning. Okay, I want to say very good and wonderful day to you. Yes, Mr. Apan, good morning. Thank you for joining us. So it's another beautiful and wonderful day again. I'm so excited to be a part of the final day of this 3-week long PMP crash course. I'm so excited to be here, to be a part of the training up until now. And trust me, it's just like the training shouldn't end. I should just be a continuous thing, but we have to put a stop and end to it for us to go back, process, engage all that we have learned so far, put it to use, and learn from our experiences. So I want to say good morning and welcome to you all for joining us in today's training session. So in today's class is going to be a very, very interesting one, as we are going to be looking at the last knowledge area of the project management professional course. The whole lot has been discussed, over time. We started with introduction to project management, the project integration management, and we took its knowledge area after knowledge area. And here today we are going to be dealing with the last one, which is project stakeholder management. So before we go on, I would just love to, hear our views, our opinion. For many of us, if you have been with us since the beginning of the class, just signify it by waving your hand. Been with us since the beginning of the class. 2 weeks we started. If you've been with us, just give me a wave. Wave your hand. Let me see. Let me see those who have been with us since the beginning of the class. Mr. Apan, Vincent, Blessing. So if you have been with us since the beginning of the class, just wave your hand. Just give me a wave. Just give me a wave so I can see those who have been with me. I can see the names of, I can see your names here actually. I just want you to indicate for those who have been with us since the beginning. Thank you very much, Mr. Esiet. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, FA raised a hand. Thank you very much. Okay, so please, before we go, just 2 questions to give us their review of the class so far before we go straight into today's class. Okay, Engineer Dr. Esther, I would love to have your review of the class so far. If you can hear me, kindly unmute your mic. So how has the class been so far? How has been your experience with us in this training? Engineer Dr. Esther. Okay, if you can hear me, Engineer Dr. Esther, I would love to have your review. So Mr. Esiet Akwan. Esiet Akwan, if you can hear me, Esiet Akan, my apologies. Esiet Akan, if you can hear me, we just love to have your review, the feedback on the class so far. Esiet Akan, if you can hear me, can you unmute your mic? Esiet Akan. Okay, Peter Akman. Peter Akman, if you can hear me, I would love to hear your review of the class so far. How has been your experience with us? Peter Akman. Okay, can we all hear me? Okay. Peter Akman, can you hear me? Okay, let me go. Vincent Blessing. Vincent Blessing, please, if you can hear me, just unmute your mic. Unmute your mic and respond to me. Vincent Blessing, if you can hear me, I would love to have your review of the classes so far. You've been with us, since the beginning of the class, of this training. Vincent Blessing. Okay. Let me be sure that everyone is here, because this one no one is giving me a response. Okay, please, if you can't respond, maybe where you are, can you just give me a buzz on the in-message session? Let me know if you're live with me, if I'm audible enough. Just give me a buzz in the in-message session. Just give me a message there that yes, I can hear you, but I can't speak where I am. Perhaps maybe due to what's it called, the environment you are in. So just do that for me in the comment section. Adebayo Adenike, if you can hear me, you've been with us as well since the beginning of the class. So I would love to get your review. What's your feedback on the classes so far? Can you just do that for us within the next 1 minute? So we go straight into today's class. Adebayo Adenike, can you hear me? Can you unmute your mic?
Good morning, everyone.
Thank you. Good morning.
Yeah, sorry, I'm currently at work, but I'll just be brief. The
Okay,
class
okay, thank you.
is explicit. It's been amazing. And trust me, I think it's the best you can actually get there because the communication pattern of the instructor has been so helpful. So for you to say you do not understand the classes or something, probably you're not listening, your attention is divided. So the class has been amazing so far. Kudos to your team.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I appreciate and love the review from the feedback from you. Okay, so without wasting further time, let's go straight into today's class. But before then, please, today we are going to be concluding this 3-week long training. For those who are going to be taking on the certification, the form is out there. Make sure you fill the forms because the form is all we are going to be using to process the discount fee for everyone who has participated in this training and is going to be taking on the certification. So if you didn't fill the form, then you won't be able to benefit from the discount fee for the certification. So ensure that you fill the form that we've sent out. The PDF material containing the price list for the certification is there. So you can do well to review that on the WhatsApp platform. Okay, I can't hear the moderator again. Hope it's not my network. Yeah, I guess it's your network because I want to believe every other person can hear me. So please, it is very, very important. The deadline for the certification for this training is on the 5th of March. So please take note of that. And for your assessment, it is important. We have dropped about 9 assessments so far. Today is going to be the last one for the assessments. So make sure that you attend to the assessments, and this is what we want to qualify you for the certification. It's part of the requirements for you to get the certification. And even if you are not taking the certification, it's also necessary that you do the assessment, as it's going to be a means of testing your understanding of what has been taught in this training so far. So please let us take note of that. As we round up the class, then for any other information we have, I'm going to be passing it across to us. So let's go straight to today's class. And in today's class, we are going to be looking at project stakeholder management. Let me bring down this the screen I'm presenting. So once you see my screen, just give me a thumbs up. Just let me know that you can see my screen. So if you can see my screen, just give me a thumbs up. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen? Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Adebayo Adonike, Victoria Wembua. Thank you very much. Okay, so the next voice you'll be hearing with that of our resource person, Mr. James Fani, who has been very instrumental in the facilitation of this training. So I want you to please give us your undivided attention and let us have an enjoyable class today.
I'm really impressed with the review and the number of people that we have had. I know a lot of people might have really wondered what is actually our driving force, and a lot of people, I have a lot of people who have actually heard from, like they actually impressed that there could be an organization or a company, a training firm, doing so much, not really minding the number of people that are actually seeing reasons for them to improve in their career. So our focus is for everyone who really need quality trainings to be a better employee or to be a better employer or to be a better business person. We really want to ensure that these people have these opportunities unhindered. And that is why you see that valuable trainings that could break the bank if you are to participate in them are really being brought to you in a way that you have an express access to it. So I want to appreciate all of you who have really been like what Mr. Kennedy said, he used Omolola as an example. Yes, I have people like that who haven't really missed part any of our trainings, and it really shows that these people are people of values, because you take people of values to actually go for values. Alima, yes, Alima also. I in the last class, I literally forced Alima to speak. Maybe she is the introvert. She's an introvert. I don't know, but she spoke so well, and I think this night also, moderator made her to actually speak. Alima also has been very, very constant and persistent. I can see Kenneth. Yes, these are people that are selling. Almost everybody here, they have been really consistent in our OM. Okay, they have been really consistent in our training. So, and I really want to appreciate it. So, either we have 2 people on board attending the training, either we have 1. The training goes on in a very energetic way. So, welcome to the last knowledge area in project management. And in this class, we will be discussing project stakeholder management. Now, there are 2 knowledge areas I really want you to pay very great attention to. You pay attention to all. I just want to bring these 2 out, for you to see how sensitive they are. Those are the knowledge areas that really, get the project manager engaged with people, like you are really dealing with people. People are really the focus of those knowledge areas. What are these knowledge areas? That's the project human resource management and project stakeholder management. Project human resource management and project stakeholder. There is none of the knowledge areas where you do not deal with people. Don't get that wrong. There is none of the knowledge areas where you don't have to deal with. In fact, project management is about interacting with what people for the sake of the project success. But these 2 that I mentioned give you a direct, in fact, if you are poor in human relations, if you are really poor in interpersonal relationship with people, then you are going to really mess up a big time in these 2 knowledge areas: project human resource management and project stakeholders management. And trust me, if you have not heard this before, I'm telling you right now, and I just do hope that you've heard it before, that human beings are really the most difficult factors to control. Or let me say it, human beings are the most difficult factors to really manage. Up till now, we have been mentioning stakeholders, in some of my explanation, I will just be saying stakeholder this, stakeholder that. But this night, we really want to look at, the management of these stakeholders, understanding who the project stakeholders are, getting yourself familiarized with the project stakeholders, knowing, having details about your stakeholders, and being able to manage these stakeholders. Now, without going far and without leaving this stage, I want you to look at the picture that I just displayed. Then you see the stakeholder being centrally located and connected to all these smaller circles. I just want you to know the stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders at a glance? Your stakeholder is everyone that your project will affect or that may have interest in your project, either positively or negatively. Note the word positive and negative. In the real sense of the stakeholders, I've been using them all throughout the training in the positive sense, because that is what I really want you to understand at that stage. Now that we are dealing with project stakeholders, now you need to know that your stakeholders, just like we defined it, if you remember, and you were with us during the project management introduction, at the introduction class, don't forget that we define, virtually the terminologies that you may come across in project management, and for you to really understand what they mean. So we did the definitions of and explanations of most of them. And stakeholder is actually one of those terms that I actually discussed. Understanding who the stakeholders are, it is very important. Who are the stakeholders? Possible stakeholders for projects are the customers. These are the people that will really use the products. So when planning the projects, these people must also be part of your concern. We don't want to create products that people will not use. Whatever you have put together, the customers will still be the one to decide either you are successful or not. If the customers refuse to patronize the services that we have put together, if it is a particular technological product that we're actually making, and people refuse to use it or purchase it, then the project is not successful. So, and that is why your customers, are part of your stakeholders. Note the definition that I give the stakeholders, either positively or negatively. Whoever the project may actually affect, positively or negatively, are the project stakeholders. Your customers, your users, investors, shareholders, those are the people that are actually also having shares in, take for instance, the federal government also claim that they are also stakeholder in Dangote Refinery. What does that mean? It means that they are also shareholders. Okay, they claim that they are shareholders. I use the word claim though, because that's the information that was actually released through media, that they actually have shares. Okay, and we also had the amount that they said that they invested or gave to Dangote. So you can have shareholders in the project that you're handling, they are stakeholders because they want to really protect their interests. You can have partners, that's if the project is not really being done by just an organization. Let's say we have more organizations coming together. We can have electrical department in the same company, partnering with mechanical department on a particular project that will benefit both departments. The media, okay, and the press are part of your stakeholders. They could be, depending on the project that you are doing. A lot of people want, they know that the beauty of especially the politicians. No politicians will actually engage in any project that the media will not blow. They want the media to blow it, to blow the whistle, to blow the trumpet. The honorable so is the one actually financing this particular project. So they need that, face. They need that face in the society. And the media is the only way that can actually do that. So if you don't know, people partner with media. It is what they want some of them to release, especially most of these bloggers and all that. So it is what they wanted them to release to the public that sometimes they actually release. There are people who engage, bloggers just because they want to blackmail their competitors. And they will just tell them to put up some write-ups and all that and push it out there. And that's why you see sometimes, some company will go all out to take the blackmailer, the person blackmailing them, to take the person down. If be possible that they even sue the person, because they believe, and most at times their belief is always correct by business analysis, that people behind those kind of, all these people writing, nonsense about their company or releasing some false information that could actually make them to go down the drain, that most of these people, they have the backings of their competitors, that they are just being used. And that's why they will go all out. I will not mention them, but if you keep to the happenings in country in the recent time, we had a company that is into, tomato paste, and then a woman just came out and said a whole lot of things about that tomato paste and all that. And what happened? The CEO of the company came out, got the woman arrested, to the extent that people even did a protest, they did all sort of, that the woman should be released, blah, blah, blah. She was just saying her mind. The man said, no, I have worked all my years for this company. I wouldn't want anybody to come and bring the company down. She should bring her evidence. She should show us that she really has a point. So the man was all out to defend his company. And for people like me, I will just sit down, being on the neutral ground. People are just being emotional about what happened to the woman and everything. Are they also considering what could actually be the possible impact on the company if the man was not able to prove his point that the allegations of this woman was actually false? It could actually mark the head of the company. Many of us could recall when we had a lot of people, the media flying through the media about the sugar content of a particular drink in our country. I will not mention it. So this company, they had to bring out their representatives, they were granting a lot of interviews, a lot of this, just for them to actually defend, that their drink is actually safe for the consumptions of the citizens. So your stakeholders are, part of your stakeholder, depending on the nature of the project, are also the media and the press. The public authorities, okay? Public authorities. These public authorities could actually be, some traditional rulers, okay? Could actually be, I don't want to, they may not really have anything to do with the government. But when we're talking about public authorities, it could actually be, recognized, traditional rulers, the Baale, you want to perform project in a particular place, there may be some conditions. After you have obtained all the so-called approval from the government, this will begin to tell you that, okay, fine, we want to do this in our society. By the time you are employing people, this is the percentage of our own indigenous here that you must actually employ. They can tell you that 20% of them must be employed. So it's not left to you to know the key roles that those people can actually play in the company and know where to actually employ them to. But they will have actually marked down the spot. This is very, very common, especially in Africa. So they are also part of your stakeholders. The government, of course, I don't have to overemphasize this. Government can stop your project, they can rubbish your project. There was I stay in Lagos, and a lot of buildings, have been marked, even currently, that are going to be destroyed. Very beautiful buildings, because governments, have come to now realize that these buildings were not in plan. These buildings were not according to what Lagos State was planned. And perhaps these people did not get full approval for them to actually use that land or to build something on that particular spot. So they can mark it for destruction. It doesn't mean that the building is inferior. Most of the buildings are very beautiful. And even you, that you were not even the owner of the building, when you see it being destroyed, you may even be crying, being emotional about it, because the great deal of money that the owner has actually spent in actually bringing up that kind of structure. But it will mark it to be destroyed. So if you do not really do your due diligence with the government, of course, it's going to affect your project. And when it affects your project, it's going to be negative. So, government, the trade groups, there are some set of, businesses or some set of projects that really have, they have trade groups. They have it registered. So you can't venture into that kind of project without you being recognized by those people. There are bodies or regulatory bodies that may really be of authority. Okay, for example, I know for sure, I don't know in some developed countries, you know, most of these fashion designers, you know, different, you know, bakers, you know, the mechanics, the barbers, the hairdressers, you know, all these people, they can't actually venture into the project of having such a business without really, you know, following the due diligence with the trade groups. Many of them have associations, okay, and they will come disturbing them if they did not, if they fail to actually what register. So it's very important that you know the nature of the project that you are going into. If you have trade groups that could really be stakeholders, community groups, community groups. When you are in a particular community, and then you want to really carry out a particular project, and there are some groups, some community, and there are some groups in that community that really oversee that kind of projects. Take for instance, you know, it could be government example, but I know, despite the fact that you may have a good mind and the resources to do some things in your environment, there are some local government chairmen that will feel challenged for you to actually say that you want to really, if there is a part of the road that you really want to maybe construct or you really want to repair, you may have to meet with the local government chairman, because they feel that it is a threat to their own political ambition. They don't know if you actually have a political ambition, maybe that's why you are doing it. And when you do it, people will be shouting your name, people will like you, people will love you, and they will do everything. They wouldn't do it, but they will do everything within their power to ensure that they frustrate you not to also do it. So we have protesters. These are also part. These are people that you can see that negatively your project will be affected. When you are looking at the color code on this diagram, you actually see that if the color code on it is not by mistake. The color code is actually giving us some signal. When you see all those ones that are marked green, these are the people that positively, their effect on your project, they are here to affect your project positively. When you see this yellow, it means that it could be positive, it could be negative. You need to tread carefully. You have a great warning with these people. Media can bring your project down, they can bring it up. Public authority can destabilize your project, they can bring it up. Government can be for you and they can be against you. Trade groups can be for you, they can be against you. Community groups can be for you, they can be against. That's why you see them being in yellow color. Those red, these are protesters. There are people that could actually protest. Yes, they don't want it. They are not competitors. They are not doing the same business. But you are bringing it to their society. They can refuse it that we don't want this kind of project in our community. No matter maybe the good mind that you have, there are people that will just say that we don't want this particular projects. And that would be so negative. Okay? Or they can say that that land that you have spotted that is good for the project is the land that they are grading far left for them and they are not selling it. So you have to look for another. And you have done your survey, you have seen that this is the good spot for the project. The buyer has approved it. You have offered to actually pay these people some money that could really be even more than the value of the land, but they refuse. And they will protest that they don't want that kind of projects. Competitors wouldn't want you to also succeed on your project. Your project could be marketing survey. Your project could be sales project that Maybe you have a target that was, oh, in the month of November, we really want to sell double of what we have sold from January towards October. And then you have set up some, some plans and everything. The competitors are not also sleeping. Okay. Now we have, some people that might actually have what special interests, or even some aspects that will actually be that you have to do what charities. This could mean that what some people that you may have to what some the special interest would be that you may have to actually what set some of these people that have this what special interest in your project. In the aspect of the one I was talking about, okay, would you give us 20%? You can have somebody being influential in the environment where the project will be, and the person has a special interest in the project. He is not really a shareholder, he's not an investor, but he has a special interest. His interest might actually be that, oh, I have 5 people in my family who have been looking for jobs. If you are done, you're letting this what company in our community, and I could support you and help you to talk to Bali and everything. Promise me that what 5 of these people will get employment in your company. I say, oh, maybe you promise, they say you will give them employment. That's a special interest. Okay? And again, you could also do charity on some projects. What are the charity you could do? There are some sites where they will, if they want to actually what, maybe they want to erect some a particular company in and they have chosen that community as the site for that company. In the course of the time that you are going to be putting up these projects, you will need water, and then you construct water and everything. And instead of you to be using the water alone, you extended the water out to the community. Maybe they have been having issues in that community using getting water or clean water. The water that you have actually the water system that you have brought up is for you to be able to do your job, the construction work you want to do. But by virtue of charity, you extended it to the community. That is what charities. And that makes those people to become stakeholders of your project, because they are enjoying what you are giving them. Another example is another example of Dangote. Okay, when he was he established his company in Obajana. Okay, we learned that when he started generating his own power, that electric power, so that he can have a smooth run of the company, he extended the power supply out to the community. But then he extended it out. I can't say it now, but we learned that he extended the supply out to the community. That is charity. The power supply was actually for the smooth run of the company, for his own production, but he extended it out to the community. So that is charity. So, with this, you know who your stakeholders are. So what is stakeholder management? If you understand the diagram I just analyzed and you have followed up to then, please give me thumbs up. Let me see you giving me thumbs up if you have followed up on the analysis. That's wonderful. That's great. That's wonderful. Alima, Omolola, Salim. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. So let's go with the introduction. First, we must know that the effective project stakeholder management is very crucial. Like I've explained, it deals with people. It has, just imagine these people, you not managing these people well. I don't care what you have in plan for your project scope. I don't care what you have in plan for your project schedule. I don't want to know what you have in plan for your project cost management. Trust me, everything will be destabilized. Imagine the government being against you on your project, and you have done a beautiful job so far. It's going to be destabilized. You have done beautiful work, and then some of your shareholders are announcing that, they want to pull out, or your investors are pulling out. It's going to destabilize the project. You have issues with the users saying that, or the customers, okay, saying that, we don't like this particular place. Your product is not okay. The one that we had before is even better than your product. It means that all the effort you have put together in managing the project and bringing the project to life will actually be a waste. So if you don't want this, then you must know that what stakeholder management is very crucial. Stakeholders can significantly impact project outcomes, and managing their expectations, interests, and influence is very, very essential. So what is stakeholder management? We are talking about the process of identifying, analyzing, and engaging the stakeholders to ensure their interests, their needs, their expectations are met, and their impact on the project is what managed. So either they have what positive impact on the project or they have a negative impact. You really want to manage their impact. And this stakeholders management, we actually what give you this knowledge area will help you in identifying who your stakeholders are. We have actually what check the possible stakeholders on projects. These are possible list of what stakeholders. It may not be that on a particular project you have all of them, but we just explore the possible stakeholders that you can have on the project. So we must know that we need to identify these people, we need to analyze them, we need to engage them, so that we can actually what ensure their needs and expectations are met. Simple. These people have expectations and they have what needs. And we want to do this in a way that their impact on the project can actually what be managed. So let's look at the types of our stakeholders. Your stakeholders could be internal. Okay. Your stakeholders could be internal. Okay, we have internal stakeholders. Who are these internal stakeholders? The example of internal stakeholders is the project team. They are actually internal. They are within the project. The project sponsors are internal stakeholders. They are within. These are people that we organize meetings with. These are people we organize what? Briefing with. These are people that what? You give reports. In the sense of the stakeholders that we have been using, you know, in the course of other knowledge area while explaining, most of those stakeholders I've been mentioning are people that you can actually refer to like your sponsors. Those that have financial stake on the projects. But now that we know that what these stakeholders are what the stakeholders of projects are more than this. They are people that could affect your project either negatively or what positively, based on their interests and expectations. So the internal stakeholders could be organization employees. If you are bringing up a particular project, the employees want to know, will it affect them positively or negatively? So they are also stakeholders. If you are bringing electronics attendance or electronic register into the company, I've used this example before. Some employees that are fond of coming late and, you know, changing the register, if they arrive by 8:30, they know how to change it to 6:58. There are some employees that could lobby that those of their friends that arrive early should mark register for them. And they begin to cover them up. Oh, he just went out to buy food, he has come before, he has arrived before, when the manager asks questions. So these kind of people will object it greatly that no, they don't want electronic register. Because now electronic register, nobody can use their finger to thumbprint for you or to click in for you when you have not arrived the company premises. So they will object it. They can give you a lot of reasons. They may not go directly to tell you that, oh, it's because it will affect them negatively. They just say, oh, some of them, I have a friend that they are using in their company, you know, sometimes they have program issues, they have software issues, it might not really see your finger, it might not be, a lot of them will bring a lot of things just to actually bring down that particular project. So they are stakeholders, but they are internal stakeholders. We have external stakeholders. Okay? External stakeholders could be your customers. Okay, you can also refer to somebody who is actually what investing into the what company as a into the what project as a customer, or you can refer to customer mainly as people that will patronize you on the what on that project. Either it is a product or it is what a service. So these are customers. These are the people that will use the what the products. These are the people that will request for the what services. These are the people that will be the user of the project that you are putting together. So you can call them the customers, and they are external. The suppliers, we have treated what project procurement management. Your suppliers are external people, but they are also stakeholders. Their cooperation or their performances could affect the project either negatively or positively. And that is why they are what stakeholders. Anybody whatsoever that your project may affect negatively or positively, they are stakeholders of your work project. So the external stakeholders are also government agencies. Okay? The CAC want to know if your project is actually what, or if your project is a company, is it registered? The tax, that's those that are actually in charge of tax, depending on your country. Okay, the agency the tax agency that is in charge of what tax. So that also have what issue with the project that you are what bringing up. The EFCC also want to know, for the crime and for the crime and anything that has to do with economic crime. They want to know if the project is actually what genuine or not, or if the source of the money is also genuine or not. So they may also investigate. So I'm just talking about the NAFDAC. If what you're actually making are edibles, things that people will actually what eat. NAFDAC also want to know if your product is actually what has been what certified by them. So before you even start, you may go through some if it's a food or edibles that you want to really create as a project. You may have to go through laboratory. If you have met people that have gone through this before, they will tell you they go to laboratory, they do a lot of analysis. If it's drink that you actually want to do, they will do the lab analysis of it to know the content of the things that you are putting together, how it will not affect what the citizens, that will take it negatively and all that. So government agencies are your what stakeholders, but they are external. The community groups are also what example of what external stakeholders. Primary stakeholders, these are the people that are directly impacted by the project. Example, the customers. There is a direct impact on them on the project because they are the end users, they are the users. They are the one, if you are making drinks, they are the one directly that will be directly what affected. Whatever NAFDAC has approved, if it's rightly done, if the laboratory analysis is rightly done, these people can take the product and then it will nourish their body, and they may take the product and then it will become poison to their body. So they are directly what affected. Okay? Anybody that the project will directly affect, they are actually what under the primary what stakeholder. The secondary stakeholders, these are the people that may be what indirectly what affected by the project. Example, the media. These are indirect, they are secondary what stakeholders. In most cases, it is after the project is really done. Maybe they want to open it or they want to declare it open. They now have what media coming around. They want to really show people, oh, this is what they have put together and everything. From day one, when you have when you have that place being bushy, before you clear the land, before you start doing the survey, before you do this design, how many of those things will the media carry? Media will not carry it because they are not involved primarily with what the project, but they are only what secondary what stakeholders to the what project. So we also have some stakeholders analysis or techniques. Okay, I'm going to discuss this largely, but let's just mention them briefly. Stakeholder matrix, we are going to discuss it. That has to do with plotting the stakeholders based on their influence and interest. We also have what we call power and interest grid. These are techniques that you can use to analyze your stakeholders so that you'll be able to understand your line of action or your action plan with different categories of stakeholders that you may actually have. There are stakeholders that you dare not joke with them. There are stakeholders that you only have to give them little of your attention. There are stakeholders that you only need to keep monitoring them and have information about them so that you can know what they are up to. Your competitors are stakeholders. You really want to know what these people are up to. What do they think about your project? Are they making any move to object it or to affect your project negatively? But these are not kind of stakeholders that you want to give report. How many people, work on the project in his own business and, update the competitors that this is the extent that we have gone? Nobody will do that. Yet, you must keep an eye on them to really know what they actually up to. So it is very important that we understand all this. So we are going to use the power and interest grid to categorize our stakeholders by power and interest. We are also going to discuss something that we call stakeholder onion diagram. Yes, I mean onion, the same onion that you know. So we are going to discuss stakeholder onion diagram. And what this onion diagram helps us to do is that it's a visual diagram that makes you totally visualize your stakeholders' relationship. Be able to visualize their relationship. When you can actually put all your stakeholders, you can input them into an onion diagram. You begin to actually visually see, your relationship, how your relationship will be with them. So it's very important. So we also going to talk about the stakeholder engagement strategies. Okay, during the communication, I emphasize on this area, and I'm just going to briefly, talk about it because we have emphasized on it during the project communication management. So, what are the mode of, the strategies that you can use in engaging your stakeholders? In terms of communication, okay, when you have to communicate to these stakeholders, ensure that your communication or your message is clear. The message to the stakeholders must be timely. I've witnessed a lot when it comes to, the impact of the community, indigenous on a particular project. It can be the existence of a company in their community. I've witnessed that a lot. I've witnessed where the community, indigenous turn to angry mob of people and marching down straight to the company. They wanted to come and stop the production. The company I'm talking about is a company that when you go there 247, they have, officers, police, military people that they are actually in partnership with to provide security for the company. These people are not there because of maybe insurgents or terrorists or anything whatsoever. They are not there because of that. In fact, during this time I was actually talking about, there was nothing like that in this in that kind of vicinity. They are not there for armed robbers. In fact, it's not a place that what would armed robber will come and steal in that kind of company. I'm actually avoiding mentioning the name of the company. But you see, the MOPO, the military officers and everything, they are there because the company has witnessed a lot of uproar from the community indigents. So 24/7, when you come to this company, you will see the police at the front of the company. Not one, not two, not three, not four. What are they doing there? They are actually there to stop anything that is coming as opera. Now, most of this opera from the community, That is where I want to talk about the communication. It's actually sometimes, you know, a breach of communication, a breach in communication, or the clarity of the communication, or how timely the communication is. The company is committed to, I don't know what the agreement was between the company owner and the community, but the community, the company owner, the company is committed to, you know, sponsoring some activities within that community. I don't know what if that was actually what in the agreement before establishing the company there. So we had, it is not something that is really open like that, but we had that the company normally sponsor, you know, some activities in the community. Maybe New Year celebration, maybe one the ballet wants to have his birthday, maybe, you know, all the community guys want to do one thing or the other. They normally want our sponsor. So what happens in most cases is that this money actually go through some of their chiefs. And sometimes the money, we find out that the money does not actually get down. So anytime you see the community opera in this vicinity I was talking about, it is either they have not received anything, okay, and they will just be coming down to the company that, oh, you guys are just here. You couldn't even, you know, do this and do that. Whereas the company has released some funds to actually what support some of those things, but going through the chief, the money will be buried, and that will be the end of it. So perhaps due to the loss that the company has suffered, you know, from this kind of opera before, they have, you know, security agency permanently was situated at the front of their work company. So timely information is very important. Most of the angry mobs that you may see, if the right information actually go to them, it might not even be that you are solving the problem. Okay? Some stakeholders will not be angry if you can carry them along. Let them be part of the problems. Let them know what is actually going on. Let them know what is going right and what is going wrong. Let them know your challenges. Communicate to them. For the fact that you carry them along, this might be your saving grace as a project manager. So the information should be timely. It should be very, very transparent. There should not be anything shady. You can imagine if the company has been doing, if they have been doing, you know, going through the midst of, okay, they will reach out to them and say, we have actually given this also amount to chief so that he can actually remit it to the community leaders, who is the youth leader, we collect this from him and everything. If there's an information like that, why would they have to be marching down to the company to come and fight? The person that will go and fight is their chief. But because the money will just go out, the company is not releasing it because it is not a public arrangement actually. It is an underneath arrangement. So the company may not be proud of it, and because of this, it was causing a lot of problem for them. So communication should be clear, timely, and transparent. We cannot overemphasize this because we have talked about it in project communication management. So we don't forget what we are looking at. We actually were discussing the strategies you can use to engage your stakeholders. So you can communicate to them, sending them messages, calling them. You can also get them what? Involved. You can get your stakeholders involved. You can get them to participate, depending on the kind of stakeholders. You can if you know that what your project might be threatening a particular community, part of the workers you will use to actually build that project, you may actually employ them from the community themselves. So when these people are actually there, you have gotten them involved. It will be very difficult for others who are also the citizens in the community to come and attack you when the project is ongoing, because the people working on the project are part of their people. So you have made it to look like to attack me on this project as the project manager, you may have to attack your brothers, you may have to attack your sisters for. So they have been engaged, you have made them involved in the project, and then the success of that project become their own success too. So there are some stakeholders that you may actually involve. Your project team as stakeholders, you have to involve them. Your sponsors as stakeholders, you have to involve them in the project. Very important. So there are some stakeholders that the only engagement you have with them might be collaboration. These are, building. It can be, example can be building partnerships, different project partnerships. You can partner with an IT firm on your projects. Okay, so you are only collaborating with them. We can both work collaboratively, work on a particular. We can both work collaboratively, work on a particular project. That is what collaborations. I am a stakeholder to this other company, and this company is also a stakeholder to my own company. So we are only collaborating. Empowerment. There are some, stakeholders that you may have to empower. One of the stakeholders that you need to empower are your project team members. You want to train some of them that do not know how to use particular software that you know that will be useful for you on your project, because you can't manage everything. There are some of them that you can talk to supervisors, and it becomes compulsory for you to actually train them and to engage them so that they will be able to deliver exactly what you want them to deliver. There are some stakeholders that will be involved in your project, but they do not have the skills, they do not have the required knowledge for them to actually perform what you really want to give to them. You may have to train them. You may have to empower them. So it's very important that we note that these are the strategies you can use to get your stakeholder involved in your project. You can get them engaged in your project. So let's briefly look at the stakeholder management processes. We have 5 major processes that we use for stakeholder management. The first is for you to identify your stakeholders. Okay, so in this process, you have to determine who are your project stakeholders. Don't forget, when I was discussing this, I actually mentioned that these are just possible stakeholders. It doesn't mean that on a particular project you have all of them. No. It is not all projects that is actually affected by media. It is not all projects that may be affected by trade groups. It is not all projects that have community groups affecting them. There are IT projects. There are various projects that you could actually do, that there will be some of these stakeholders there that may not be applicable to it. So it is very important for us to know that the first process of stakeholder management is to identify the stakeholders. And then the next one, you really want to analyze your stakeholders, you want to analyze them, like what we have been talking about. Out of your stakeholders, now that you have identified all of them, who are your internal stakeholders among them? Who are your external stakeholders? Who are your direct stakeholders? Who are your indirect stakeholders? Those ones that we can call primary stakeholders and secondary stakeholders. And then it's time for us to develop stakeholder management plan. You must now have plans. Now that you know them, now that you know those among the stakeholders, you have analyzed them. You have seen that these are my primary stakeholders, these are my secondary stakeholders, these are my internal stakeholders, these are my external stakeholders. How will I go about managing these people? You have to know them. The community people are part of my stakeholders. Oh, they can affect this project. How am I going to manage them? What will I put in order? Do I go through ballet? Is there any influential person in the community that can talk to these people in such a way that they will not affect my business? That if I say to that person, I know that the entire community has already been settled. You begin to devise strategies on how to actually manage your stakeholders. And then when you have developed it, this is just in blueprints. You begin to implement this. I have indicated that I may have to go and see ballet of this community for this project that we actually want to erect in this community. Then the fourth process is where you actually now go and meet ballet to discuss with that ballet. You have only made plans, but the fourth process will actually talk about how will you implement the plan that you have made. And then the fifth one is for us to monitor and adjust. Don't forget, I've always been mentioning it, you hardly see any of the knowledge area that does not involve monitoring and controlling. Yes, there are some of them that does not actually involve that. But at the stage of even doing it, Even when you are still making your cost, you have to monitor your cost. Your scope, you have to monitor it. Are you working with it or you are deviating? Your schedule, you constantly have to evaluate if you are actually behind the schedule or you are actually ahead of the schedule. So you need to also monitor how well the plan that you have made in managing your stakeholders, how well is that plan actually going? And if the plan is not working, then you adjust. For example, I could have talked about having an influential person in the community, using that person to really control those members of the community that can actually disturb us on this project. What if it did not work? What if they refuse to listen to that person? What if what we have given to that person as a benefit to community was not delivered? Like the examples I've used about some chiefs, receiving some funds from the company and not actually giving it to the right source, maybe the youth leader in the community. I must have a backup. I must actually monitor this. If I see that, like that company I mentioned, to the youth, okay, that's our system, and find a way that, okay, are you the youth leader? Be the one to be coming for your benefits. That means that their benefit will not go through the chief again. Then we adjust. That's an adjustment. If the government sanction us on the project that we are doing, that this is the particular policy that we are not following, then we may have to adjust just for us to actually obey the government. So you must monitor to know what is going right and what could be wrong or what is going wrong, so that you can actually mitigate the effect by quickly adjust. Now, there are some tools and techniques that we make use of in project stakeholder management. We have what we call stakeholder register. What is stakeholder register? This is when you have, the information of your stakeholders being documented. Don't forget, there's another register that I make mention, risk register. You remember when I was discussing under the project risk management, talking about you documenting all the risk attached to your project. So it's a register. So the same way the meaning of register is how you should also quickly understand what we call stakeholder register. This is where you have your stakeholders being documented, you have their information being documented as a register. We have what we call communication plan. Like I've explained, you must make plans on how you are communicating with your stakeholders. Under the project, communication management, we talk about this. Is it going to be through the email? Is it going to be through the phone call? Are you making use of communication softwares? Are you going to be using some chat platform like WhatsApp? So what communication channel do you want to use with your stakeholders? So part of the tools and techniques that you will use is the communication plan. Issue log. We have what we call issue log. That's where you track the stakeholders' concerns. So it is just like where you store everything that is being brought to you as the concerns of the stakeholders. So those are the issue logs. For example, your project sponsor is your stakeholder. So when they tell you some things, or maybe they have some things about a particular phase or milestone that you have actually completed, then this actually comes into the issue log. There are issues to be resolved. So issue log allows you to be able to track the concerns of the stakeholders. So when you deal with one, if you have like 4 issues in your log, when you deal with one, you can keep the track and say, oh, done, 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 done. You can see your Kanban board like an issue log. When you have what? Things to be done, to-do list, you have what? Ongoing, and then you have your done. Even your done, after the project sponsor, during the testing, the project sponsor might say that what you think that you have done, you have some changes to make on it. If there are change requests, then you have to feed this back to us, to this log, where you have to do list or to do log, and then you bring it out again to the ongoing, you perform it again before it comes to what's done. So that you have your to-do. I've used this a lot. I don't want to emphasize it. You have your ongoing, you have your done. So even if you're done, go through testing. And the project sponsor, who is now a stakeholder, and an internal stakeholder, your project sponsor can actually be what, and be internal, can be what, external. It could be somebody who is coming from what, outside the company, or it could be internal. Like electrical department internally in the company can sponsor a particular project, and you can have what, an external person. So during the testing of the phase you have completed, let's say the project sponsor has a complaint about it, then you have to bring it back. He actually what, there is a change request. You bring it back to do again, so that you can what, do it again and still bring it to what, to done. That's what actually what talking about. Let me erase my page. Okay, everything on. So you must know that your issue log can help you to track the stakeholders concerned. And then we have what, the risk management. Identify the stakeholder related what, risk. What are the risks? Like as I've explained on this what diagram, there are a lot of these people that pose what risk. What are the risks? There are risks with your what, competitors. There are risks with what, protesters. There are risks with what, government. Risks with trade groups, the community groups. You know, there are risks. Okay. Don't forget that what your risk. If you manage your risk well, it could actually what, impact the project positively or negatively. So even with these people, okay, being in the red zone, it doesn't mean that what, if you exploit it, you plan very well, you manage your competitors very well, it will be to your own advantage and not your own disadvantage. So you can turn it, you can make it work positive. And that's what we are talking about, what, the risk management. So you have to analyze the risk, you have to what, manage what, the risk is part of the technique that you need. How well can you what, manage risk? It will affect your stakeholder what, management and your stakeholder management success in your project management. So it's very important that we take note of all this. Now we have discussed the processes, of course, but we can still what, itemize them. Identify the stakeholders. This is when you determine what, the stakeholders. Who are your stakeholders? I've mentioned that. You analyze what, organizational charts, project documents, and what, expert what, judgments. Okay, so you can actually analyze all these, go through it. It will help you to itemize your stakeholders. As a project manager, it is your responsibility to know who the stakeholders are. But don't forget that what, in your project was charter, your stakeholders are also part of the list of people that you can actually see there. But you as a project manager, you may see that in reality, you are even able to discover some what, stakeholders that you may not even have in that what, document. For example, there may be some stakeholders that you do not put in mind. You can get to the place of the what, of your project. Let's say it's a physical project and it is in site, and then you have another what, challenge. You discover that there are some stakeholders that you have not actually what, captured. That is why it is good that you as a project manager, irrespective, yes, the organizational chart will help you to know who the stakeholders are. These are part of the things that you can use. That's what we are saying. When you look at the chart, you can say, oh, electrical manager of electrical department is a stakeholder on this project. We have interest. Anybody that have what, either positive or negative interest on your project, they become your stakeholder. The project document can reveal to you who the stakeholders are, and the expert judgment can help you. That's where you need experts to analyze. Please, we are going to this particular region to do this project. Have you walked around that place before? What are the things that you know that are known with that area? Oh, there are a lot of area boys there. I'm very, very sure they will come and work. That may not be in the project charter. Officially, that may not be captured, that there will be area boys. So you now know that what? How do you manage that? Either you get what, security personnel, and after getting the security personnel, if you want to really what, secure the lives of your of your project team that are working on site, because when they leave the site, of course, they are no more under your care. Perhaps they are going to their hotel to sleep and everything. They could be kidnapped if you do not actually take care of the area boys. So you may begin to actually get to know that these people are part of your I'm sorry if you are not used to the terms area boys. We are talking about thugs. We are talking about hooligans. People who may come around to actually stop, the ongoing projects, and may be demanding for some funds for them to actually step down their illegalisms. So if you have this kind of people, expert judgment might be the one that will reveal these people to you. Expert judgment will tell you if there is a ballet that you need to go and meet in that community. Expert judgment can help you to know if there are some influential people in the community that you may have to go and actually meet before the project can actually fly. So you need to analyze, okay, and then in this identification, document the stakeholders' information in your stakeholder register. So part of the output you will have under this process is that you are going to have the list and the information of your stakeholders. Analyze your stakeholders. We have discussed about this. I can't overemphasize this. You need to assess your stakeholders' influence. What kind of influence do they have on the project, their interests, and their expectations? Use this to actually know what is the power they have, what is their interest, okay? And then you have to know the power, how to prioritize your stakeholders. It is when you know the interest of the stakeholders, you be able to actually prioritize them. To know, how do I deal with this? Who are those that are critical that you must relate with first? Who are those people that you bring last on the list, and all that, so that it will not affect your project negatively. Develop the stakeholders management plan. In this place, you need to know the strategies for each stakeholder group. Which strategies will you use to engage them? Know the communication approaches. I've discussed about this. Implementation of the stakeholders management plan. I've discussed about this. And monitoring and controlling. We have discussed it. So we need to now explore what we call the techniques, the stakeholders engagement techniques. So we have to explore this. Okay, so I've mentioned some of them when I was actually listing them out. I've mentioned some of them. Okay, we have mentioned some of them when I was actually listing them. So stakeholders analysis. Okay, so we can use what we call stakeholder analysis matrix. Okay, stakeholder analysis matrix. So in this analysis matrix, we want to look at, okay, analysis of our stakeholders. Okay, so we want to look at how do we know which of the stakeholders have, low interest in the project, okay, and high interest in the project. Which of the stakeholders have low power on the project and actually high power on the project? This will actually entails, careful analysis. It will entail you to actually do careful analysis. So let's look at that. Okay, so I'm going to use, okay, power and interest grid, and we are going to use stakeholder onion diagram. So let's first look at the power. So this is the analysis of the power and interest grids. I will use my whiteboard to do some analysis so that we can actually understand how it works. So this place is a place of low influence. You're going to plot something like this: low influence and then high influence. Okay, and then low interest, high interest. This is the analysis. So we want to know, we are going to have a place of 4 quadrants like that. This will be the first quadrant. This will be the second quadrant. Okay. You can use this as the third quadrant, and this will be what? The fourth quadrant. So let's look at the practical example. Okay. Practical examples. I want us to use a practical example of a particular company, either an IT company or another company. So let's use this. Okay. So we have some, we can have some end users. We can have the project. Okay. So let's use this construction company. Let's use a construction project. Okay. Local residents. Look at the local residents. Those people that are actually what residing in the environment when we want to carry out what the project. Those people, we can say they may have what high interest, I'm not going to use the terms interest. We can use them that what they have high influence. So if they have high influence, we plot it. Okay. And they have what? Low interest. Those are the what? Local residents. Now, what are we talking about? There are some projects that you may want to actually what erect in a particular community. The people living in that community, they can influence that project either positively or negatively. They can attack the project, they can welcome the project. They can, their attitude can either, allow you to have a smooth run, or can actually what make you to have what a lot of difficulties. But what is the interest of these people in your project? They will not really have what any interest. For example, there is a shopping, company like this, company that where you can actually do a lot of shopping, the physical mall being built in my environment, my immediate environment here. Now, when they were actually building this thing, a lot of people were actually happy. Why are they happy? Because they used to go, to some distant places to buy some of the items that this company want to be selling. And this company is actually known. They didn't pay me for advert. I won't mention their name. This company is actually known to they are known to with low price. That's their selling power, because they want items to be available in a very affordable price. That's the right word to use. So if to the extent that when you buy some of these goods from them, if you go out there, you'll be seeing the differences of maybe 200 naira in the Nigerian currency or 500 naira. So because of that, people were actually happy that they are coming. So in this case, we can say that the interest is high. Those kind of communities can come in a place like second quadrant here. They are interested on it. They are very, very interested in that project, but they have a low influence. Okay? They can't really influence it because practically they are not attacking the company that they should not build in that particular place. But they are interested in the success of that project. So because of that, you already know that they are stakeholders. In a case like this, when I've seen that the local residents cannot have a negative influence on my project. My people are saved because they love this kind of project that is coming. The only thing is that they are highly interested in this project. You can see that we are saved. Then as a project manager, I know how to relate with these people. I know what to actually do with them. That is what power grid is actually doing. So it helps us to understand people of low interest, high interest, low influence, and people of high influence. Like in the analysis that we have here, if I'm going to make this into diagram, okay, let's make this into diagram, and then you will see how it looks like. Now, what this diagram is showing us is that we have low interest. When you say LI, it means low interest. HI, high interest. And then I have people of what? Low influence. So, low influence, I have people of what? High influence here. Now, in the case of this company, okay, their IT department, the IT department in this particular place, they place them under the people of low interest and low influence. This is the IT department. That's what you are seeing on the screen. So the end users, they place them on the quadrant of high influence, high interest, but low influence. They place their project sponsors, okay? The project sponsors, they place them here. Project sponsors. These project sponsors, they have high interest in the project, and they have what? High influence in the project. So you need to know that this is the place where the high influence meets with what? Okay, if you have it like this. So if I make this to be low interest, okay, low influence, low interest, high interest, and I have low influence. I just wanted to understand the plotting. High influence. You can also have it like this diagram, where you have this on the y-axis, you have this on the what? X-axis. This can also help you to plot it. So here, where the low influence and the low interest meet, you must know the kind of stakeholders you have in that region. Those people that have low influence on your work project and their interest is also low. It will help you to know how to actually what? Deal with these people. And you're going to actually what? See in the analysis of the example I'm using on this screen. When you have those people that what? They have low, okay, low interest, but high influence. There are some stakeholders in this particular place. So you will know how to actually what? Relate with them. There are stakeholders who actually what? Have, you know, low influence, but high interest. They are highly interested in the project. Like those community, you know, in my own community, I make use of an example. They are highly interested. It will benefit them a lot. They will benefit from it. They are interested, but they have a low influence on it. They cannot influence it. They can't make the company to build it within 1 month. They can't make the company. They can't actually make it to be built faster. Neither are they ready to attack it because their interest is high. So you can have people that are of what? Low influence and also what? High interest. And then you can have, lastly, people of what? So you see, people of what? High influence and high interest. So you can see how this thing actually what? Form these 4 cardinals. Okay? Like your square is being formed. So these are the what? 4 quadrants that you are seeing up there that I drew. So if you translate this now, you translate this, okay? And then you translate it to this. This place is pointing at low influence, high influence, okay? And you have this pointing at, okay, low interest, and this one is pointing at what? High interest. So you must be able to place your stakeholders on these 4 cardinal, you know, analysis of influence and interest. It is very important. So in the power grid, we talk about influence as power, okay, while we refer to what? Their stake, their interest in the project, okay, as interest. But the power you see there is about the influence. What influence do they have on your work project? Your project sponsors, just imagine that they stop actually what? Bringing in what? Their support that they will use, that, and those are the funds that you are actually what? Relying on. What happens? That is when you will realize that what? they actually have high influence on your project. They can make the project, they can frustrate it. And whereas they also, as the sponsors, they want their own profit also. So their interest is also very high. They are interested in it. So by carefully analyzing after identifying your stakeholders, you must be able to arrange them on this particular grid. It will actually help you. Now let's look at the of this engagement or strategies based on the example I've actually used up there. Now for those IT departments, or let's use the end users first. The end users, we said that the end users in this particular place, they have low influence, but they have low influence. Let me use IF so that it will not get us confused. They have low influence, but they have high interest. Okay, these are the end users. What do you use with these people? Since their influence is low, but they are very interested in the project, you must never keep them in dark. You must give them regular feedback sessions. That is what you have to do with these people, because they are the end users. They are the ones that will use the project. So you need to get them engaged. Okay, this is how far we have gotten to. Like the one I was using as an example in my community. They cannot influence it. They can't say, why are you using 3 months now? Can't you use 2 months? They can't do that. But every day, people were just going to this particular company that I said they wanted to build in my environment. Oh, they have started painting it. They have started doing the wiring. They will so open it and everything. You know, that's a form of informing them. They can see it is a physical project. They can see the progress. You don't want to keep them in dark. They need to know what is going on, because they are going to be the end users. Your project sponsors who happen to be of high interest and high influence on your project. Timely progress update. Those are the people you know that they must have a timely updates. You dare not keep your project sponsors in that. You want them to know that this is what their money is doing. You are making good use of their money. So they must have a timely progress update on the project. The developers here, low interest. Okay, low interest, low influence. What do you do to them? And they are the developers. They are the developers in this particular case. Okay, they are in this particular region. They have low influence, but they have high influence, but they have low interest. Those are the people I did not plot in this particular place. They are in this region. Okay, they are here. High influence, but low interest. They are the one that is actually here. Okay, you have your IT here. Okay, that's the first quadrant. In the second quadrant, you have your end users. That example that I use. In this the third quadrant here, this is where you have your developers. Okay, and in this fourth one, this is where you have the project sponsors, according to this example I'm using. So your developers are of high influence. You know, the influence that the developers have on this particular project, which happens to be a construction project, the influence that the influence that they have on it is very high. But their interest, they may not show interest in it. If you do not motivate them, their interest is low. You have to know that their interest in this is low. Despite the fact that their influence on it, the power they have over it, they can frustrate the project if they are not doing a good job. That is why you have to train them. You have to give them technical training and support, so that they will be able to do a good job on this particular project. You must give them training to do a good job, because you know that if they do anything wrongly, it will highly influence the project. That is why you have to train them, because their interest is actually low. They are not. They may be showing low interest in it. You know their habit. These are developers. These are the ones, the people that will do the programming and everything. They are not on them for you to say, have you written the code? Have you done the back end? Have you done the front end? In the case of IT project and all that, they may not actually do a nice job for you, and then you have to train them. You have to motivate them. That's part of the support. The IT department, in this case, low influence, low interest. Since their influence is low, they don't have any influence on this, and their what interest is also low. So what I just need to actually be telling them is what they must actually obey. The compliance report is what I will be giving to them. These are the things you have to do. These are the things you have to do. These are the things you must not do according to those also on this project. I give them information. Those are the people that they just need to follow instructions. They just need to comply. I do not have much issues with them because they are of low interest. They have low influence on the project. So it is very important that we take note of this. That's about power and interest greed. Now, another thing that I want us to analyze is about the criteria. We can go deeper on the criteria. We can look at, the influence as I've discussed. We can look at the interest as I've discussed. What about the expectations of the stakeholders? Many stakeholders have the expectation. What is the expectation of the sponsor? The community, what are they actually expecting? The users, what are they expecting from us? What have we promised them on this project that we must actually deliver? Okay? And by the time the impact of these people on the project, we must be able to measure what will be their potential effect on the project. If eventually we have it rough or we have it smooth with them. We must know the urgency of our relationship with some of these stakeholders. The time sensitivity of the stakeholders' needs. When these stakeholders bring their concerns on board, like I've been mentioning, I've been saying this over and over again. You must be able to pay attention to to time constraints, so that you may not actually have it wrongly analyzed on the project. It is very important. So virtually we have talked about the power grid. Okay. So next, I want us to talk about the stakeholder onion diagram. Okay. Stakeholder onion diagram. Right. So we have diagrams that could actually help us to fully analyze that. So let's quickly look at that. I can see that our time is actually past spent already. So let's analyze the onion diagram so that we can have a good understanding of what we are doing. There is still another techniques that I want us to also analyze, but that actually look like the power, power and interest grid. There is no much difference with it, but we can still analyze it. The stakeholder onion diagram. Okay, when you look at my diagram, it looks like an onion, right? For many people who have actually sliced onion before. So this looks like an onion. So it's because of the shape, that's why we call it onion diagram. Okay, so the onion diagram, the stakeholder onion diagram, is a visual tool used to identify, categorize, and prioritize stakeholders based on their proximity to the project. We want to know, when I was explaining, I was talking about internal stakeholders, external stakeholders. This is the work of your onion diagram. Your onion diagram makes you to visually look at who are those that are really internal stakeholders, their proximity to the project, and who are those that are really external stakeholders. By this diagram, when you look at it very well, okay. So let's see. Internally, here we have the products. Okay, this is the products. That's what we are working on. We are building as a project. The business system of the company is internal. It's very, very close. They are closely knitted with this project. They are internal stakeholders. System admins are internal stakeholders. Their proximity is very close to the product. Support staff, perhaps these people will actually be, those people that will work on this project. They may be part of my project team. They are internal. They are very, very close to the project. My users okay, are also very connected. They are, you know, the users, I mentioned primary stakeholders. The primary stakeholders are also in the category of those who are actually what? They are internal, they are very, very close to the project. Like when I was using an example of edibles, if your company is actually producing what? Maybe edibles or drinks or whatsoever. The users who are the customers that will take these things, the product will have a direct impact on them. And that's why they are what? The onion diagram is showing that what? They are internal people. You will see that what they exist in a different cycle with what? The user management. The legal, it may be the government, the sales, that is when the product is not what? Ready. These are the people that will market it. The technical what? Management. These are actually what? Their circle is not as close as the circle of what? The system admins, the business system. These are the people that will analyze whether the product, this project is worth, you know, doing or not. I talk about the business case on projects when we were talking about what? Project management introduction. During that class, I explained what we mean by what? Business case on a project. They are the ones that we analyze. The expert judgment, they will use expert judgment to know whether it is worthy for them to actually engage in this project or not. What is the benefit of this project to this company? Will it increase our customers? Will it improve our reputation? Will it increase our chances of what? Beating our competitors to their games? These are the people that can say no and they can say what? Yes to the project. The system admins, this can be your senior management. Okay, these are the people that will actually know whether there are resources for the project or not. The support staff, the available staff may be the one that will be formed into what? Project team, like we have in the week matrix. All these we discussed during the organogram when we are talking about organogram in the introductory class of project management. We have PMO in the company project management office. Are we going to just use the matrix, like use our staff to just form into what? Project team and choose one of them to be a project manager? You know, so we must understand the onion diagram actually allow you to have what? This visual what? Look of who your stakeholders are and how close they are to the project. So I have it documented where we actually also talked about the, okay, let me display that. That's the power and interest what? Grid, okay, where you have what? Low power, it could be used as what? Power, or you can call it what? Influence. So when you see these being used interchangeably, especially when you get the material, you should not get confused. Power or influence, we use them interchangeably in this case. And then you can see, in fact, you can plot more than what? 4 quadrants. You can have people that you say, oh, maybe their power on the project is average. You can say they have medium, you know, influence on the project. Maybe this, so you can use low, medium, and high, depending on the case stakeholders you have. And you can also see the one of the what? 4 quadrant where you only have low and high. So this is power and interest grid. The one that looks like it that I said I would also like to make mention is the one that we call stakeholder matrix. Okay, it also functions the same way as power and interest grid. That's why, okay, we can just mention it briefly. If you understand the power and interest grid, definitely you should understand what stakeholder matrix. In stakeholder matrix, what do we use? We lay emphasis on influence also. So when you see stakeholder matrix, when you see what power grid matrix, they are actually doing the same thing. So influence is being used to describe what might actually be the power of what the stakeholders on the project under the stakeholder matrix. But when you go to the power grid, you will see the influence of these stakeholders being used as their power over the project. So it is the same thing that they are actually doing, but they are just techniques. They are techniques that you can use to analyze who your stakeholders are, to get information. The purpose of the power grid, power and interest grid, the purpose of the stakeholder matrix, the purpose of the onion diagram is for you to be able to have useful information about who the stakeholders are. How powerful are they on this project? What is their influence on this project? Okay. What is their interest on this project? Is their interest low or high? Is their influence low or high? Is their power low or high? Or if we are dealing with a 6 quadrant, is their power low, medium, or high, as the case may be? So I want to appreciate everyone, everybody who has been with us, on this training. And I want to conclude by saying that effective project stakeholder management is crucial, as I've started with this. Very, very important, because it could actually affect your project positively or negatively. And we have been able to actually see that in this training, what should be your take away from this project stakeholder management training is that your stakeholder identification analysis techniques is very, very important. You must be able to know all the stakeholders, and you must be able to analyze their influence. You must be able to analyze their power. You must be able to analyze their interest on the project. You must be able to develop the stakeholder management plans. What is your plan? Are you planning to only, communicate with them? Are they the people that you just need to actually tell them the compliance information? Are they the people that you must give progressive report? You must know the kind of relationship, various relationship, different relationship you should have with these stakeholders. It's very important. And in this training, you must be able to know that it is not enough for you to have a good plan in order to manage your stakeholders. You must actually be able to implement these good plans that you have made. If you say you are going to be communicating with some stakeholders, perhaps the project sponsors, through the email, and that's your plan, definitely you must stick with it and use that email as the means of communication with such a stakeholder who might be a project sponsor, who might be part of your project teams, who might actually be the project customers. And then it is important that you should monitor. Things can actually go wrong. The plan you put in place might not be effective enough, and then you'll be able to adjust. So I want to appreciate you once again. Thank you for being with us on this training. Over to you, Mr. Moderator, so that we can have question and answer session. Thank you so much.
Okay, I want to say a very big thank you to our resource person, against and for that wonderful session. Thank you. Okay, so it has been a very, very laudable, been a very, very engaging moment, engaging time, and because of this training. So yes, thank you very much. So thank you to resource person, very, very thank you, Mr. James. We are still going to hear his voice. But before then, do we have questions? We have questions. If you have a question, just signify by using of your hand so you can attend to those questions. Okay. Thank you. Okay, Abolan or Latin. Abolan or Latin, you can unmute your mic and ask your question. Abolan or Latin, you can unmute your mic and ask your question. We can't really hear you. Okay. Bola, I think.
Hello. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning. Please go ahead. We can hear you now.
Hello.
You can go ahead, sir. We can hear you. You're audible now. Okay, so I think Mr. Bolari is having some network challenges over there. So please, do we have any other person with question? Mr. Bolari, once you are able to resolve the network issue, you can just signify. I'll bring you back on. So do we have any other person with questions? Questions on this particular knowledge area so far? Or maybe you have questions from maybe the previous classes that you want to you probably want to chip in. So just feel free to ask your questions now. Okay, so Mr. Obolari, you can unmute your mic. Let's see if we can hear you again.
Yes,
you can unmute your mic.
Thank you thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. The class was amazing. Very, very, very good. But I just want to ask, when is this kind of class coming out again? Or is there a place where we can see any notification if we are organizing any kind of class again like this, please?
Okay, thank you very much for your question. Yes, for heavy of our classes, we do send updates out. If you have participated in any of our trainings before now, you will definitely get updates via emails as our subsequent classes unfold. So that's one channel we use in communicating. And at times you see our adverts out there, our ads, you might come across it, or maybe you belong to any of our WhatsApp platforms. Definitely, you probably get updates of these trainings as they come up. So just watch out for them. You definitely get a feedback from us via your emails or via any of our WhatsApp platforms or other platforms that you belong and you have the opportunity to be in. So for this training, yes, our YouTube platform is very much open. If you have not subscribe to our YouTube channel. You get updates. Once you subscribe, you get updates for any of our trainings. Yes, any of our live trainings, you get updates. Yes, of course, if those trainings are free participation like this, but if they are paid participation, you might not have maybe access to them because they are paid participation. You have to pay before you participate. And yes, more of those trainings are actually coming on board. So for those who have participated in every of our PMP trainings, in fact, they are going to have the primary access to the softwares that we are going to be training on. Yes, our software trainings, project management software trainings are coming up very soon. Just watch out for them. Our project management software trainings and to do the project management PMI exam, strictly for those who want to take PMI exams. We have classes that are coming up, so whereby we just read questions, past questions. So you should watch out, look out for that as well. So having said that, do you have any other person with questions? Questions? Any other person? Those who joined us via YouTube, let me see. We have questions from there. Okay, for now, there is none. Okay, so before we leave, let me give the opportunity to trainer, a resource person, Mr. James. He has one or two things to pass across to us. And interestingly, he's also a training director under UC Concept. So I would love for you to hear him out. So he has some parting thoughts for us. So Mr. James, over to you, sir.
Good afternoon. Good morning, as applicable as it may be. So I'm actually quite excited. 3 weeks seems so long because there are some training firms when they say 3 weeks, you will just be meeting during the weekends, and that's how they count their weeks. But us, I think for the 3 weeks, it's been quite engaging. A lot of energy, a lot of resources have been put into it, and I want to appreciate everyone. In fact, kudos to you. There are people here that I've seen that have been engineer UM. Honestly speaking, my appreciation goes to you and engineer Dr. Esther. A lot of people here, so I can't mention all. Thank you so much. You've been there. Thank you. You are people of values, and that's how you know people, so they know the right place to be. So let me first say this. Please, one thing is that aside the emphasis on certification, attempt all the assessments. Attempt all the assessments. There are two ways I measure people that are taking us serious and people that are taking us for granted. The first thing is about your assessment. When you're not submitting your assessment, you are not learning. because that is we have learned project communication management. That is the best way to communicate to us that yes, I've gained a lot from this training and this is what I've gotten. So if you can get 70, 80, 90, you practice those questions and you're able to actually do them, trust me, you never can tell how that will help you to retain the knowledge. That's number one. Number two, project management is an evolving profession. So, and that is why you should not actually cut off. We have emphasized on the need for you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and for you to actually follow us up, turn on the notification bell, because uh, trainings we reach out via different medium. But trust me, when we post on the YouTube, definitely you'll be able to get an information. So try as much as possible to go back to all these classes. The person that will retain this knowledge will be somebody, because